Rager. I mean, I think Hurts just really took a step back, and you know, that's the kind of game that I look at and I say you might need another quarterback here. You know, although Russell Wilson didn't look too great last night, did he? He looked like, yeah. I mean, he looks like he can't move anymore. So, but you know, I don't. You know, you gotta. And John, you've said this a lot. I think all year, you have to be able to throw the football to come back. I mean, if you're down double digits, you can't run the ball. You can't go on a 15 play drive where 11 of the plays are runs. You don't have time. And
we've got the Mackinac guys here on Birds 365, and we've got a well-refreshed guest. He's out in the car. He's drinking something. I didn't pick up on that. Was
that coffee, Bob?
Repressed, yeah. Oh, yeah. Repressed.
What? No,
I don't know what that word means.
You're repressed and refreshed. What do you got? Wawa coffee, or did you go to Starbucks?
No, it's it's a Wawa cup. It's home coffee.
All right.
I got out of the house. Yeah, got to get the oil change and all that stuff. You know, and I would suggest that too for the Eagles. You know, a little oil change wouldn't hurt right now, right?
We were talking about a little oil change, but
not the quarterback position.
Yeah, we're talking about it.
No.
If he's hurt, not benching. If he's hurt, Bob. If he's hurt, he tweaked his ankle against the Giants. If he shows up Wednesday and it's a significant ankle sprain, I think you could learn a lot about Nick Sirianni's offense if Gardner Minshew was in there.
Well, you might be able to, but you'd start a quarterback controversy of
not if he's hurt.
It doesn't matter. No, he's not going to give that up. We all know that. He played the rest of the game. He is not going to give that position up. That's the guy he is. He's kind of like the Kelsey of the quarterbacks. So if you take that job away from him, oh man, it'll be entertaining to write about, John. Maybe that if you're looking at it from that angle.
I already wrote about it.
Hey, Jody, one thing Doug Peterson did really well until the very last year was manage that quarterback position and stay clear of controversies. I don't think Nick has those credentials, and if the front office is doing it, start looking for another quarterback.
All right. So when John told you the oil change he was looking at was at the QB position, you rolled your eyes. What position were you thinking about, Mr. Grotz?
I was thinking about the wide receivers, and I'm not dumping everything on Jalen Reagor. I think that's a little, this is a little bit much. I mean, he is what he is. There's a reason that the Eagles drafted another wide receiver a lot lower than him in the next draft, and that's because he's not a first round pick. So, but I would take. I just don't like their passing game either. And John, that's an interesting just concept with Minshew, and I don't know that he would run the offense any better than Hurts. I'm just guessing because he's been in different schemes that he might. But I was really disappointed in Jalen Hurts, the decisions that he made last week. I mean, they gave him Jalen Reagor, and hey, he took it. And you don't throw a guy the ball that just can't perform in those situations. We all know that. And I think some guy, Clark Judge, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's a longtime NFL writer. He had a tweet that was hilarious, and it also bore truth. He said, if you have one pass to win the game, why would you throw it to Jalen Reagor? He couldn't catch a cab in downtown Manhattan right now, and what the traffic it's like there. And that, that's not an indictment of Reagor because he's already proved that he's not a number one. But those decisions to throw him the ball, how can you keep, you do take what the defense gives you, but not if it's Jalen Reagor. And some of that is scheme too. I got to lay some of that on the coaches. You got to have an easier scheme for him to use for the quarterback for Jalen Hurts to use to find the right guys.
Correct. And I appreciate Mr. Judge's attempt at humor. Jalen Reagor's not a good enough player, and they overevaluated when they drafted him. He's shown no improvement since he's gotten here. So the majority of the blame goes on him. But there's blame to be shared. And I seem to be harping on the fact that Nick Sirianni just keeps rolling him out there. He even said blatantly into the camera yesterday, he gives us a better chance to win the football game. I disagree. Shame on you, coach. You've watched enough of this guy. He doesn't give you a bet. He decreases your chance to win when he's out there on the field. So
I think he meant a better chance to win than maybe JJ or Greg Ward. The guys that are on that roster. Yeah, right. But he is the thing. He is part of the progression. Reagor is part of that quarterback progression when he gets out there. I just don't. I think Reagor. I mean, I think Hurts just really took a step back, and that's the kind of game that I look at and I say you might need another quarterback here. Although Russell Wilson didn't look too great last night, did he? He looked like, yeah. I mean, he looks like he can't move anymore. So, but I don't. You gotta. And John, you've said this a lot. I think all year. You have to be able to throw the football to come back. I mean, if you're down double digits, you can't run the ball. You can't go on a 15-play drive where 11 of the plays are runs. You don't have time, and that's where they are. But this is part of the growing pains. I quite frankly, I think it's encouraging that they've won 5 at this point.
But they are in it, Bob. I mean, you mentioned the Washington football team beating Seattle. Russell Wilson not looking that good. They're the 7th seed. They're the last team in the NFC playoff race right now. If the season ended today, obviously the Eagles are only a half game back. They play them twice. I think there's 4 teams.
Do you see them beating the Washington, John? I don't see them beating Washington. That defense.
Well, I've said from the start that Washington is the key to it all.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah, but Taylor Heineke, I mean, come on. If you can't stop
you're right.
Taylor
Exactly.
Heineke.
Hey, John, Daniel Jones. I didn't think that would happen either, and especially with a new play caller and that's like. That offense is, they're back to the Stone Age with their concepts there. So, I mean, to lose that game is,
that was a bad loss.
Yeah, and that's an indictment of just about everybody on that team.
Were they feeling themselves? Did they take the New York Giants for granted? Were they? We had Barrett Brooks on. He called it "Data Boys." Were they looking at the pats on the back and saying we're a little bit better than we are? In the home of Bill Parcells, who says you are what your record says you are, and it says the Eagles are a mediocre team.
Well, I don't see how anybody could have played the Giants last Sunday and not felt good about themselves. Like I look at all the issues that they had. I mean, that's remarkable that they came back. Maybe Strahan gave him that little push when he had his number retired or whatever. But I think it was Ike Reese it was Mike Quick who was talking about that Giant defense, and I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, but he's right. I mean, that's a decent defense on the Giants.
Yeah, and they did a good job.
I mean that's a lot better than I thought. They can cover. So and the other thing too, I think it was Julian Love came out, Jody, and he said that they wanted. You guys know that. I mean, that's what you do. That's what you do. If the Eagles get behind, they're not equipped to play catch up. So, but I'll give them a little credit for finally realizing that they had to run the ball to win.
All right, I need you to do a little revisionist history with us here for a second, Bob. How negligent was Howie Roseman starting with the day he hired Nick Sirianni and going straight through till today with a heavy emphasis on the preseason roster shaping, cutting down?
Yeah.
How negligent was he not adding another veteran wide receiver? Because I said to John earlier, Greg, I was talking about Greg Ward. He said, well, Greg Ward is the veteran wide receiver on this team. Veteran wide receiver used to be a freaking quarterback. He's only 3 years out of college, and he was a quarterback for his entire collegiate career. How can you lean in on him as the veteran clutch mentor type wide receiver, how bad did Howie blow it by not being able to land that type of player?
Yeah, I don't know that any veteran wide receiver worth anything would have come to this team. I mean, they're clearly in rebuilding mode. There was uncertainty at quarterback. They just got rid of one guy, a new coaching staff. So, Jody, I mean, that's a good idea, but who would want to come here? I mean, those veteran guys, they want to win, and they don't want to go into a rebuilding situation. So I don't think that's that big a thing. But I thought you were going to talk about the easy training camp and and how nobody played in the preseason, none of the starters and everything. And this is kind of, I think that would have helped them more if they had actually figured out who they were before October, or the beginning of November. So that would have helped. I really, when I look back on this season with that coaching staff, I don't know whose idea it was, but injuries, there was always injuries, and I know they wanted to get to the starting gate healthy, but I think that hurt them a lot too. I really think they needed to do more in the preseason, and so the coaches could figure out what the strengths of the players were and how to scheme effectively.
But who are they, Bob? I mean, Nick was pretty honest about how bad the passing game is, and he was not happy about it.
Yeah, they still, in my opinion, they still need a quarterback. They have that offensive line is it's really good. I mean, even when guys get hurt, I know there were a couple penalties on Herbig the other day, but they still were able to run the ball like they do. And you put somebody in there that can that it is a little bit more of a passing guy, and I think there's Goddard is going to have like 7 or 8 catches a game, not targets, and Devontae Smith, I think he's going to light it up. And even if they did play action, he's going to get the ball more than he did. But you need somebody that's going to be able to throw these guys open. And quite frankly, yesterday, I think Aaron Rodgers, the way that the Eagles their scheme is, I think he would have had trouble throwing guys open in this scheme. It's too limited.
So if I'm reading you right, and we don't know if Jordan Howard's going to be able to play this week, probably, but we don't know that. We don't know that Miles Sanders is going to be able to play this week. Coach said yesterday, check back with me on Wednesday. Can't give you any update right now. Are they just going to try and run Boston Scott down the throat of the New York Jets? If that's their identity and they don't have a quarterback who can throw people open, and damn it, they're putting Jalen Reagor out there for 85% of the snaps. Yeah, I'd try and run the ball too. Are they going to have enough healthy running backs to be able to do that?
Miles Sanders, yeah, he came back and he played. I guess there's a possibility that he might not be available, but the indictment of him is when the game's on the line, they don't want him on the field. they went with a rookie, who was going to be able to do the things that they wanted to do, or Boston Scott in the other game. So there's still an issue there with Miles Sanders. He's still got a lot to learn, and he has less experience than some of those other guys. So, what do they do against the Jets? I'd like to say that the Jets are a pushover, but they're coming off a win. That quarterback. Here's a decent stat for you with Sirianni against the Jets. He's 3-1 against the first-year head coaches this year. The only loss is to Brandon Staley. Yeah. So their staff, I get maybe they get up for these games or something. They'll have a workable plan this week. And the Jets, I quite frankly, I don't know as much about them as the Giants, but I don't expect I don't expect this to be like. The Eagles are favored by what, 6.5? I think they win by a touchdown. The young quarterback and everything. I had another bone to pick too with that defensive coordinator of the Eagles. That last field goal drive by the Giants. What did it take? Like 20? They controlled the clock for like 20 minutes.
Too much time.
Yeah. Why do you want to bend but don't break against Daniel Jones? They didn't even know.
Let's
He's
talk
reading the
about that
plays off his
defense.
wristband, and the other guys that you could tell they weren't lining up right. Why don't you put some heat on the guy? Put him on the ground. I didn't like that either. That was way too passive.
I feel like we haven't talked about this defense all week because there's so many issues with the offense. The defense, they gave up 13 points on the road. You should win that game, but is it a chicken and egg situation? Just they're better against bad quarterbacks, or are they starting to figure some things out with some personnel deficiencies? Obviously, they're not terribly talented on the back in the back seven, to say the least.
Yeah, that's the first bad quarterback that they lost to. And I'm going to put Daniel Jones in the bad spot. He just hasn't had a good year. I think he has ability, though. But I think, they still got 13 points, and that offense.
In the modern NFL, 13 is pretty good for defense.
Right.
Yeah,
well, it was three
good.
more than the previous week,
Yeah.
Look at the guys. Even look at the guys who scored the touchdowns the last 2 weeks,
Yeah.
Both first-time touchdowns, and Kenny Golladay. Wow, what a bad pickup that guy was. They talked about him not being able to separate. Oh my! How can he even look in the mirror and say that he could separate, or get the ball? It's got to be a perfect throw to him every time. The Giants got problems.
I'd take Kenny Golladay on the Eagles.
I would not. I wouldn't even want him in the locker room.
Jalen Rager.
Yeah.
He caught the ball last week. He made some big third down plays.
Okay, Bob Grotz would not take Kenny Golladay over Jalen Rager. I would not. I don't even want him in my locker room. He's a complainer. He can't get open, and he complains about it.
That is your most devastating criticism of all. Taking Jalen Rager over anybody.
Man,
I'd take him over
former 1,000-yard receiver at some point.
It's not that long. It's not that long a drive from MetLife down to your door. Be careful on Christmas. You might get a visitor you're not looking for.
You know what? I would fire Gettleman just based on that move alone. What was he looking at? Come on. The cornerbacks were like smiling when they were there. They were like, he just not a good guy, not a good player, and a complainer,
No Christmas card for Kenny Golladay from Bob Grotz. All right, Eagle offensive line question. Driscoll now done for the year. The second time on IR, nothing you do about his history.
Yeah, that's not good.
Herbig is going to be slid into his spot. But we see the Eagle offensive line a lot of times this year not make it through games. Shoot, Kelsey got hurt again. He missed more than just one play. Usually Kelsey goes out. It's one play that comes right back in.
Bad.
He was out for a significant amount of time, and the head coach didn't even know that he got back into the game.
Yeah.
Who's going to get reps if the Eagles suffer an offensive line injury again this week?
Well, they can't lose a tackle now because Driscoll was their swing guy too. So Sua Opeta could get some snaps. Herbig is going to have to play center. The coach made a good point about the pivot and there's no time to really show Landon Dickerson how it's done right now. It's a little bit too late to make that change. But so Herbig would play center, and then I guess you'd have Sua Opeta.
Yeah,
and he's a penalty waiting to happen. Whether it's a false start or a hold, he's got ability, but I think that's the reason the Eagles got him for nothing. He just I don't know how many career snaps he has, but most of those snaps.
He's a very intimidating looking man.
Yeah, that
he
doesn't help either.
No,
when he looks at the officials, yeah. But I think he's got like maybe 10 or I don't know how many plays he played, but he's got a lot of penalties.
If you're casting a football movie and you want a big nasty looking guy, you cast Sua Opeta.
That's a good one. Yeah. The longest yard 3, right?
Yeah.
And nasty looking, but nasty playing is Jordan Mailata, who is scoring points with Eagle fans every single week because he seems to get in a shoving match with somebody, and the Eagle fans just absolutely eat that up. If he goes down, we know that Dickerson is going to be plugged in. If Lane Johnson goes down on the right-hand side, Do we see Andre Dillard attempt the right-hand side again? We know what that first time looked like. Will they go back to John's boy, Andre Dillard, playing right tackle?
You might have to do that.
I would think, honestly, if Lane went down, which you don't want, Dillard would play left tackle. They'd kick Jordan to right tackle because Jordan can do it.
That's true. They did that earlier this year.
Yeah, I don't really like that line.
Yeah.
I mean, then you're just kind of like throwing darts. So, but I wanted to see the Eagles get this quarterback thing resolved this year, and I always thought it would just play itself out, and here we are.
Hasn't. Here we are. Yeah, it hasn't. Nobody. Yeah, we have no information. We have none.
It's just always there, But I still think you need it. You have to be able to throw a lot more efficiently than they have, and I don't know if this is the guy that's going to be able to help you do it.
Jeffrey Lurie, Bob, you've been around for I believe the entire Jeffrey Lurie era of this team. Will he accept this offense as a long-term thing, or will he put his foot down and say, nope, you got to have an advanced passing offense to win consistently in this league? We got to go in a different direction. Will he just say that at some point?
Yeah, him being the analytics guy that he is, he already knows that, and I think he knows. I think he figures this is just kind of a phase that they're going through, with the new staff and everything, and there's you can't go on like this. I mean, it's amazing to me that the Baltimore Ravens have been so successful running the ball, but they've also played great defense, and they have some, when somebody, a free agent or something, or when somebody leaves the Ravens, they get picked up and they make a lot of money, the defensive guys. So, I mean, that helps a lot, but you really, I mean, you have to be able to throw the ball. And, I guess it was I think it was the Steelers. Yeah. The Steelers were the last team to win a Super Bowl that ran the ball more than they threw it. And that was when Ben Roethlisberger had just the worst game ever.
Yeah, very young.
Against Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't win that way. You got to be able to get the ball, air the ball out. And Rager Hurts has shown that he can throw. What did he have? 387 earlier in the season. He threw for 387. He's shown flashes, but they're only flashes. There's still that consistency isn't there. And oh, by the way, too, some of those throws on Sunday, I mean, they just not that good. I mean, just not that accurate. Behind guys, not the last throw of the game, but
since the Eagles changed to pretty much a run-heavy offense during the Raiders game, but if you use that as the demarcation line, Jalen Hurts since that time, 57.8 completion percentage, under 150 passing yards a game, 4 interceptions, which were the vast majority against the Giants, so that hasn't been as big as a problem, but under 58%, 145 yards per game passing the football. That is a tough way to win in this league.
Yeah. And I was thinking under 60% for that. So this is these next few games are huge for Nick Sirianni too. And his credibility with management, with all the stuff that's going around, and but what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, I see Hurts getting out there, even if he has to, whatever he has to do.
The Eagles love Zach Wilson coming out. That was the guy they would have moved up if they could have got Zach Wilson. He'd be the quarterback of the Eagles right now.
You think so? Yeah. He had
Zach Wilson.
Tremendous workout. Yeah. That workout was incredible.
The all-platform throws, Bob. Unbelievable.
That workout was so incredible. I called up Merrill Reese, and he told me, Bobby, it's just a workout.
By the way, Merrill and Mike were at MetLife Stadium. They were doing it live.
Yeah,
They weren't at
yeah,
Lincoln Financial Field. So they're going to be there, I assume, again this week.
yeah. And this whole thing, this COVID stuff, this has been killing Merrill because he loves to be at the game. He wants to be in the locker room. He barely he has to say hello to the players, to try to get to know him a little bit, Jody. He's got to stand outside the interview tent and introduce himself, after the press conferences. And that this has been really tough on him because he's a real football guy. And
it's compromising for everybody.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Bob Grotz, final question for me, and this is not a trick question. What number is Ryan Kerrigan?
Yeah.
I know it.
He should have gotten vaccinated. It's in the 50s, right, John?
No, he's number 90.
He's number 90. And I needed to know, I had to look it up because somehow he played 13 snaps again this week. I trust.
He got a tackle, I think. I believe he had a tackle.
Did he get his second tackle of the year this week?
Yeah. I got the game book. I'm going to look it up.
That's a typo. I'm not so sure.
Yes, he had a tackle. Ryan Kerrigan.
So he doubled his tackle production for the year on Sunday.
Yes.
Went from 1 to 2. What the hell?
He's doing exactly what they're asking him to do, Jody. Very productive football.
Yeah. A lot of times veterans
keep his eyes straight ahead. Yeah, JG, that's what you need. A guy who can keep his eyes straight ahead.
He's playing.
A lot of times these veterans, they don't want to go to a rebuilding team, but Kerrigan he's an exception. Yeah.
Transitioning team.
We should have wished him onto a rebuilding / transitioning team other than the
Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles got to avoid a quarterback controversy. You
can't Johnny Mack is pushing.
You can't even have an opinion.
You got now
50-50 right down the middle, so they can throw Gardner in.
Yeah. Now Jody's going to get me in trouble. I'm saying only if Jalen Hurts' mobility is effective, there's no use in playing. Remember, Bob, they have the bye week after the Jets game.
Yeah.
So they got 2 full weeks.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
For the playoff run. That's how you spin it. And you say, let's take a look at deep down how he's going to be smiling, saying, let's take a look at Gardner Minshew. But nobody else knows that except us on Birds.
This locker room is not equipped to deal with a quarterback controversy.
Right. Because if Gardner goes in and
Gardner stinks, though.
If he goes in and throws for 305, guess what? You got yourself a quarterback controversy.
That's fair.
Good luck getting Nick Sirianni up there on Monday going, and Jace and Hurts is our guy.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. But see, I didn't even compute that Gardner would play well.
You didn't go that far. See, you got to think about those things.
Yeah.
Bob Grotz, thanks for taking a coffee break with us.
Thanks, Bob. Delaware County Times. Read Bob Grotz, the great.
Right.
I'm going to call him the great Bob Grotz.
Yeah. Hey, the population is losing. I mean, the population of Delco is declining. So, yeah, there's not a lot of greats left. So, but it's always a pleasure to come on your show, guys.
Our pleasure.
I appreciate it, Bob.
Bob Grotz going out for a great oil change, and I have faith that he will get just that.
I got to get an oil change, too, Jody. That reminded me. I keep going up the turnpike. I got to get my oil changed. I don't have time.
I know we don't have much time left here, but I got to tell you yesterday, same thing. Shows ever boom, had to run out. My daughter got a flat tire. She was here all weekend. She was driving back to Philly. She got like a mile down the road, went into the supermarket, came out, tires flat. So we get it towed back here at the house. I'm going to take it down to our local garage, does all the work for us. And yeah, there was a big old nail in it. You could see it. It was like, big. So they pull it, plug it, not a problem. Boom, I pull out of the garage. I drive about a quarter mile. They got those idiot numbers that show up to tell you how much tire pressure you got on your dashboard.
Yeah.
26. All the rest of them are in the 30s. I'm at 26 on the new tire that the repaired tire that he put on there. Drive back down to the garage. I go, did you put enough air in there? I hated to ask that question. He said, I set it at 34. How the hell's it 26? Second hole in the tire. Had to go back and get another one plugged for my daughter. So yesterday I took care of my daughter. Today I got to take care of myself. I got to go get blood work. You've got my blood boiling by not giving Greg Ward his proper
That's why you're a pro. You mess it all together. I got your blood boiling. But I hope you drank some water because it's not going to matter, Jody. You're going to get by. Yeah.
And just a little water. You're not supposed to have any. I'm having just a little. All right, come back. We'll put a bow on the show. We've only got a couple minutes left here on Birds 365.